The police is reporting that they believe that they have made a significant breakthrough in the case of Chanel Simmet, a St. Elizabeth-based teacher that was viciously taken out right in front of the school which she worked. But the story is about to take a dramatic twist after the police have arrested and charged Domain Robinson, aka Starboy Miles, with that incident. He's also been under the microscope for the second lover of Chanel Simmet, Owen Domain Day, a taxi operator that was also taken out in Southfield, St. Elizabeth. This is a developing story and one that will leave you shocked and in disbelief. Hi again and welcome. This is Links W7 TV Let's Talk, and we're about to discuss this on the program. If it's the first time you're watching, please subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and click on all so you're always updated with our latest report. We'll be right back after the break with the full details to come. Welcome back and thanks for joining us for the program. This is Links W7 TV Let's Talk. This is a place where we discuss issues of national importance and issues that are just buzzing in the news. So what I want to talk about today on the program is a situation that happened in St. Elizabeth, Jamaica, just last week to be exact, in which a young, bright, promising and beautiful female, Chanel Simmet, who works as a teacher at a school in that area, and her life was viciously snuffed out as she was en route to school. Now, this has left the whole education system in a bit of disbelief and a bit of despair based on the revelation that came out thus this week that a former lover of this female might be the one responsible for the vicious attack that took place on this fateful day. So if you're looking on screen right now, you would see a set of different pictures being projected at you. So in the middle, we have Chanel Simmet, and this would be the teacher that was taken out in St. Elizabeth. To your right of your screen, you have an individual who goes by the name Domain Robinson, otherwise known as Starboy Miles. And this was said to be a lover that Chanel Smith had a relationship with for some time, and the relationship might have turned sour at one point in which this individual might have been physically abusive to the female, as stated in a report by the father. So this is not me just saying this offhand. The father made a report, and this was actually collaborated in an interview he did with a local newspaper. On the other hand now, which is to your left, you have another individual, Owen Domain Day, a taxi operator, and this was said to be the second lover of Chanel Simmet. Sad to say, this individual lost his life over the female based on the fact that Domain Robinson, he was not accepting the fact that Chanel Simmet had moved on and now having a relationship with this individual. So this individual lost his life also over this female. So let me bring you back to 2019, the day that this individual lost his life. So the family of Owen Domain Day, a taxi operator from Southeast St. Elizabeth, has been plunged into a state of disbelief and a state of shock based on the news that hit them on the day in question. So, reports from the Junction Police are that sometime after 6, so Mr. Owen Domain Day was said to be in the community on the day in question when two armed men traveling on motorcycle opened fire, hitting him several times in the chest. The police were alerted and he was taken to hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. If you look on this situation that happened to Miss Chanel Simmet, second lover, it's very shocking to see that it was actually the said incident that happened to her on her day that she was a victim of crime and violence. So the police investigation continued in the case. So this individual, who was said to be a kind and loving and honest person and an active member of his community, and the family right now is struggle to understand what caused the taking out of this taxi operator. But the family then in 2019 might were not aware of the circumstances that surrounds his taking out, based on the fact that this individual was a quiet and just calm personality he displayed towards others. He was loved by the community, and what happened shocked the whole entire Southfield area as the community members tried to console each other. They were left in total disbelief and trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Fast forward to the year now, 2021, and the police have so far charged an individual who was said to be the first lover of Chanel Simit. So, based on the information that we've gathered, it seemed as if Chanel Simit and Domaine Robinson had a previous relationship and it was not going good. And Chanel Simit decided that she wanted to move on. However, his family, and that would have been Domaine Robinson family, they were not in total acceptance of the fact that she wanted to have moved on. And there have been ongoing arguments between the two. And the fact that he found out that she had moved on with this individual, this pushed him to the breaking point in which he carried out the vicious act on both the taxi operator and also the teacher. According to family members of Mr. Owen Day, he was a very dependable person, someone you could always rely on. If you see him 10 times for the day, probably 8.5 times, he would be smiling according to the family. So Mr. Owen Day was said to be a devoted father and a devoted son. He was just aged 38 years old. He also had a wife, Kenisha Day, who was too overcome with grief and is now left with the task of raising two children on her own. So whether or not Mr. Day and his wife were actually separated, that is still unclear. But based on this information, it did not say whether or not they were separated. So it seemed as if an affair was going on here. And might be the boyfriend, the first lover, knew about it and decided that this wasn't fair on him. So now I'm about to update you with the latest we have in relation to the case against the first boyfriend and how the police are carrying out their investigation. So Domain Robinson, the man who last week turned himself into the St. Elizabeth police after being listed as a person of interest, has been charged with the taking out and conspiracy to commit murder in connection with the killing of a taxi driver 2 years ago. Robinson is the relative of a man who is also being investigated in connection with the murder of the school teacher Chanel Simit. Miss Simit, who was said to be aged 28 years old, lost her life 2 weeks ago outside the Sandybank Infant School in St. Elizabeth by one of two men who opened fire at her as she was about to enter the schoolyard. After the taking out of the school teacher, the police listed Domain Robinson as a person of interest in connection with the case. The investigation took a turn yesterday as Robinson was charged in connection with the July 22nd, 2019 incident where it was reported that at about 6:15 p.m., a 41-year-old taxi operator who goes by the name Owen Domain Day was gunned down in Southeast St. Elizabeth, and at the time the incident happened, he was aged 38 years old. The deceased taxi operator was reportedly parked in the town square when two men approached him, one of which reportedly brandished a firearm and opened fire, hitting him several times. He was taken to hospital but succumbed to his injuries. 28-year-old Robinson, who is known as Domain Miles and Lizard, was charged following an interview in the presence of his attorney. His court date is yet to be finalized. The police have also stated that Robinson will remain in custody as they continue with the investigation into the case.
It is also understood that the police are theorizing that Robinson was involved in the taking out of the taxi operator and may have committed the act on the behalf of a relative. The taxi driver was reportedly alleged to have been in a relationship with Miss Simmet, and which reportedly angered the relative of Robinson. So that is just the latest we have in relation to this case, and we'll continue to track this story and just provide you with more information to come on this. But if this is what the police are theorizing happened, it is very sad because this individual now would have had two cases against him in one go, and the police are actually believing that they have actually cornered the right individual in relation to both case. But we'll continue to track this and provide more information to comment this. But what happened here is a very sad and unfortunate situation, especially to the teacher and also the young taxi operator that lost his life. Peace out and bless and have a productive day from the Links TV family.